Mr. Marcos Danfried, Director of Institute for Cultural Diplomacy, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me? At the utmost, please allow me to thank the organizers of this event for organizing this interesting event. These are the Academy of Cultural Diplomacy of the Institute of Cultural Diplomacy. As it is creative, it creates a huge opportunity for cultural exchanges in the cultural diplomatic sphere. Ethiopia, since the coming up of His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed in the first of its kind democratic election, has witnessed some dramatic changes in the culture of the politics, economy, and social aspects of the nation. After divisive party politics was abolished with a call to all opposition parties in the country and abroad, after discussing among opposition parties several times, a key milestone in the nation's history was realized. The key opposition leaders were included in the government cabinet position. This is fixed, I think. It comes to my nose. 50% of the women were made a cabinet member of the ministerial cabinet. It's very first of its kind. It was exemplary to the world, where we have 50% of women in the ministerial cabinet and 50% women are ministers for the first time. It was one in the world. There we see sometimes we take a lead to show exemplary issues. In the economic sphere, a newly introduced homegrown economic strategy has salvaged the country from the challenges of COVID-19, flood, locust, and also drought. All type of problems came at a time. All problems which are facing the world was severely facing Africa, because COVID has tested, leave alone economically less level countries, leave alone developing countries. It has really tested the high-powered, economically well-to-do, and hugely developed countries were challenged with COVID. As human beings, we all faced the challenge together. That's where we see, though we are considered a developing country, Ethiopian Airlines were sharing the vaccines and other supplies to all parts of Africa and the neighboring countries, where others were refraining to go. And this also is another example I would like to see as a diplomacy. It's not because we have big thing, but with a small thing, we have a big heart to share. That is one which shows another exemplary things. Several directives were amended to solve bottleneck and hurdle in doing business in the country. After, other than the privatization of several government-owned enterprises, government was able to complete most mega projects, including significant progress of Africa's largest dam. It is a Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The construction of this mega dam is in line with the Ethiopia's ambition, climate resilient green economy strategy, which lead to the introduction of the green legacy of Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of Ethiopia. With the program, Ethiopia has planted 25 billion seedlings and also 270 million fruits like mango, papaya, and also avocado. This also, planting of these fruits, show that we are trying to increase access to food. For the first time in the country's history, the bank sector has been made open to potential international investors. Telecom sector has been privatized, and now Safaricom is operating in Ethiopia. As part of the homegrown economic strategy, and also recent challenges in the global food market, Ethiopia has become the world's top 18th wheat producer with a surplus to export to neighboring countries. One of the key elements of the economic strategy envisages the development of new and existing tourism destinations. As you know, people like to see Ethiopia. Why? When you tell to the world that Ethiopia has never been colonized, everybody say what this country looks like. And you see this, you may not see the difference of not being colonized, not on the trees, not on the buildings, not on the floor, not on the river. You see it on the eyes of the people, where they confidently smile to you, whether you are white, black, or yellow. Just consider, respect people as human beings. They don't feel inferior, they don't feel superior, they don't feel anything, but they feel happy to see people. That's one of the things you can see. Ethiopia, the land of origin, as I mentioned earlier in my interview, it's the cradle of humankind. Please be happy you all are Ethiopians. You are originated from Ethiopia, because the first humankind is found in Ethiopia. And it's also the birthplace of coffee Arabica. Now everybody enjoys coffee, I know, but Ethiopian coffee is very special. It is Arabica coffee, means it has a special aroma, it has a special taste and flavor, and it has current science discoveries show a lot of benefits of coffee, of course. All over they mention about coffee, and a very small amount of coffee can help even to mix it to Robusta and make other coffees very nice. You know that, yeah? Yeah. And Ethiopia is a home of endemic animals and birds. Ethiopia is also known for distance runners, marathon champion of the world. Ethiopia have 9 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, which has a tremendous advantage for us to benefit from the tourism, which is not touched at all at the moment. The Gada system, which is a very democratic way of electing leaders traditionally, an indigenous democratic socio-economic system, is another fascinating cultural practice in Ethiopia, which has been inscripted by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage. Ethiopia is a cultural mosaic with diverse, tangible and intangible cultural heritages. And as part of one of the world's country, Ethiopia offers a lot of values to the world. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all these opportunities and efforts are being challenged by several factors. In the past 3 years, the government of Ethiopia has faced internal and external challenges. Internally, the reform-resistant TPLF and its warmongering behavior led the government to take action to maintain rules and law. External parties that fuel the conflict in our country and misinformation, disinformation campaign targeting to destroy the image of our country are notable ones. Very sad case that these days, even the mainstream media, even the university scholars who are expected to recheck and talk about founded information, everybody will simply forward what he gets on his handset on his mobile. That was really giving problem to our country, and we have suffered from this, but we have overcome that problem also. But still, the disinformation, misinformation is going on. On August 24, 2020, for the third time, TPLF, the terrorist group, killed civilians, terrorizing the population, forcing the civilian to go to the war by force, because they hijacked 1,200 trucks and trailers and transporting them to the war, to the civilian population, creating havoc in Afar and Amhara, forcefully displacing the population and looting and destroying properties and civilian infrastructure. It used the time of the humanitarian stress to remobilize and hoard humanitarian aid and fuel to begin its third round attack on civilian. Even the WFP president announced that they have looted the fuel which was meant for humanitarian service. The once roaring voice of the international community and the mainstream media during the government's offensive on TPLF, the once roaring voice of the international community and mainstream media choose silence during the government's offense on TPLF during this very horrific time of our people in Afar, Tigray, and Amhara. And yet again, when Ethiopian government pushes back the outlaid terrorist TPLF fighters and began to control key cities in Tigray, the roar from these entities was afresh. Even the Director General of WHO, Dr. Tedros Adhanom, feeds the media with false allegations using his portfolio. In this regard, my government has continuously expressed its dissatisfaction with the efforts of the continental and multilateral institutions trying to pressure the government while refraining from condemning the acts of terror by TPLF. This will have an eroding effect on the trust and credibility we put in the multilateral mechanism. While we strive to rebuild the trust and the credibility of the multilateral system, which has been greatly affected, we now and then insist putting a terrorist function on an equal footing with the responsible and democratically elected government should stop, because they equate the democratically elected government with the illegal terrorist group. The government, as a responsible actor, has taken several commendable measures to avert further damages and losses of the lives. It has rebuilt infrastructure, allowed unfettered access to the humanitarian aid, and declared a halt to conflict and humanitarian truce. Following the control of major cities in Tigray, the government is expediting the delivery of humanitarian aid and areas liberated by the Ethiopian National Defense Forces. With the facilitation of African Union, a negotiated peaceful outcome is expected. At this point, I reiterate the ever increasingly fragility of the multilateral system. Ethiopia, as a founding member of both the African Union and United Nations, the highest contributor of peacekeeping troops to the UN, is being pressured and pushed aside by the very multilateral system, along with other nations. This must stop. It's not what we deserve as a country. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I once again would like to draw your attention to the opportunities that Ethiopia could offer to all of us. Doing business and investment in Ethiopia has never been opportune as it has been before. The reform in the economic sector has changed legal instruments and frameworks that were bottleneck to invest. Now, encouraging directives are in place for investors from abroad and from within the country. Before I conclude, I would like to thank the organizers of this event and those who directly and indirectly contribute to make it happen, to make it successful. Above all of you who make your way here to give us your time, to listen to us, to take part in this event. Without you, nothing could be a program, nothing could be successful. Audience, I really thank you from my heart. I thank everybody who have worked hard. It seems very simple to organize, but I know how much it takes. God bless you all. Thank you. Of course, no problem.
Okay, does anybody have questions after this nice talk? Okay, we start here.
No. You know the process. You need to come to me. Nobody will be safe from this.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Cyril. I'm from the Philippines. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. You mentioned earlier about the challenges that Ethiopia is facing with regards to the multilateral mechanism. I was just wondering, also you mentioned about the history of Ethiopia as one of the very prestigious number of countries that was not colonized in the world. With my question now is what is the role that Ethiopia is trying to work on in terms of building its relationship in the multilateral mechanism? If you're currently facing challenges that, as you mentioned, do you see Ethiopia taking a leadership role or something, especially in the African Union, to promote peace and establish a different kind of image for Ethiopia?
Thank you for your question. Ethiopia is always promoting peace. It has been always a peaceful country, and as I mentioned earlier, Ethiopia is the largest peacekeeping troop contributor to the world, not only to Africa. And again, the questions you mentioned, time and again, Ethiopian government, Ethiopian people has been trying to bring Ethiopia's truth to the world and even to the multilateral system. But they understand it last time, and we start re-engaging. We re-engage and try to solve things were improving. Again, when TPLF start war, and that was again, things are not going the right way. That's why we are saying we didn't stop re-engaging, trying to make people of the world to know our truth. Sometimes you can cheat somebody, but you cannot cheat God. If you have faith, if you don't have faith or trust, the universe will do the same. Sometimes scientific issues and the spiritual issues come together. Like you see in spirituality, they tell you will harvest what you did. Even scientifically, it's true that you harvest what you do. Therefore, we always say we have the truth, and we want people not to judge us from far, to come and see the truth. Even sometimes while you are there, you might not, you may be deceived by those who are making decisive things like TPLF. Last time they killed people from Afar and Amhara. They transport it with truck and bury them in one hole in their area. That if you see, you will judge without checking that dead body. That's the biggest problem what we are facing. And I don't blame you, those who cannot check. But the multilateral system who have all the capacity, all the mechanism to check when they pressurize Ethiopia unfairly. And even the United Nations, UN, whom we established, we are former and we are founders also, but we are not really treated the way we deserve. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Yeah.
It was related to the Philippines because we are also one of the founders of the UN, and currently we are struggling with extrajudicial killings in our government. So it's interesting to find out that.
I would like to take one more question, and then we have, now I have two people at once. My student stopped, just for me. So I'm gonna let you have one more question. Anything else maybe we can do when we have our nice coffee, because we do have the coffee ceremony. And to be honest, I can't wait. I always thought we have to go for 100% Cafe Arabica, and that's how you buy your coffee. So no Robusta for me. So here. The gentleman. You have to also go to the mic.
Jean-Baptiste, yeah.
Otherwise, he will look at you.
What?
Stare you down.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I just wanted to ask a very quick question. You mentioned something about the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which work is underway now to fill up the reservoir. I would like to know how the dialogue with the two other key countries, that is Egypt and Sudan, is continuing, and if there are any prospects for sorting out some of the unsolved questions. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much about your question. Actually, the Ethiopian Renaissance Dam started by Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, the water is enough, leave alone from Ethiopia, Sudan, 3 countries, it's enough for 450 million people. And the way we do is, from day one, we start engage Sudan and Egypt downstream. It's only the first country in the world who involve downstream people, country, to come and negotiate, sit down together. Before we start anything, we sit with them and show them what we do. is Ethiopia generates 86% of the Nile water, and Ethiopia is using 0%. Egypt 80%, Sudan 18% to evaporation. And it's unfair for us to use our own resource amicably and equitably without causing significant problem to our downstream. In our culture, Sudan, Egypt are our brothers and sisters. Especially Sudan and Ethiopia are one people in two countries. They know it. And we are doing this dam according to our agreement with Sudan and Egypt. We signed declaration of principles in 2015, how to operate the dam. And even though Egypt is accusing us that Ethiopia done unilateral decision, we didn't do that. We did it according to the agreement we have, according to the DOP. And now the third filling is very nicely completed. The second electricity generation is nicely generated, and no problem happened to Sudan or Egypt, and it will continue that way. That dam is the source of integration. It's not a source of conflict at all. And Ethiopian people, 65 million people are in dark. Egypt, 100% connected. And because of people use biomass to cook and to light. And women and those who cook suffer from eye problem with the smoke, respiratory organ problem. Not only that, they go far to fetch wood for cooking. They destroy the environment, they destroy the trees. This also destroys the environment, and because of environment destabilization, there is drought and erratic rain in the country, and we are suffering, and about 8 million people will be on food aid because of this. And that's why we want to end the poverty, we want to give food to our people, we want to create electricity to the industrial park so that our youth who are not having job to get job. If we don't create job at home, everybody will come and nag you here. They don't stay at home. Honestly speaking, they go to the neighbor everywhere. It doesn't stop in Africa. It goes to every part. Therefore, we want to keep our people at home giving job. Did I answer your question, my brother?
Thank you very much. Yes, sure. Thank you.
So thank you very much for being here and giving us this wonderful input. And also, I want to thank in the name of everybody for the coffee.
Thank you.
So with that, let's all get up and enjoy the coffee provided by the Ethiopian.